Uh, Good morning, everyone. Good morning to everyone who is present, the panelists, the colleagues, as well as the audience who are watching us. And I welcome you all. Today, we are embarking on a journey. Nirman University, Jaipur already is starting or continuing with Thursday webinar series, wherein we have tried to bring the academicians and the leaders on a platform. But today, we are embarking on the journey of Center for Women and Gender Studies, part of Nirvan University, Jaipur, to start with another webinar series, not another, but a part of the webinar series, wherein we'll try to bring women leaders and academicians and accomplished gender people associated with the causes of gender and women. So I welcome you to this special webinar. To give you a glimpse and overview, Nirvan University, Jaipur is a state university located in Pink City of Jaipur, which offers multiple courses ranging from engineering and technology to agriculture to commerce and management to hospitality to education, and it has launched its Center for Women and Gender Studies, which is going to focus on the issues of gender and women and also working towards the empowerment of the women. So I, Professor Tanu Tandon, Director of Center for Women and Gender Studies and Dean, Faculty of Education, Nirvan University, proud to launch this webinar series wherein we'll try to bring the women leaders, academicians into a single platform. Today, we don't have Professor Goel, Pro-President Nirvan University with us, but he is the one who is the inspiration behind this webinar series. So I thank him also. And I would like to now introduce my esteemed panelists for today, which I'm so happy and proud that they are here. We have with us Dr. Manju Anand, who is a linguist, a linguophile with flair for languages, be it English, Russian, French, German, to name. She is a passionate teacher, a teacher educator, a creative writer, and an excellent communicator. And with more than 25 years of experience with starting her journey from Russia, learning about the education, and also starting her career from IIT Kanpur. And then her journey continues till today, inspiring young minds. I'm so happy that she has joined us. Along with her, we have a very young, vibrant, dynamic personality, Miss Alicia, who is an alumnus of AGK Communication Center of Jamia. And she is not only an academician working as assistant professor, but also a street theater writer, a documentary filmmaker, and also her list is so long, and also a freelance theater writer, director, documentary filmmaker, and so much of in-depth knowledge about theater, street theater. So I'm happy that we have Dr. Manju Anand, HOD of Modern College of Education, looking at the B.Ed course, and Miss Alicia, who is assistant professor at Amity School of Communication, as well as an expert in theater. So we begin the show today. And first of all, I would like to call Dr. Manju Anand to speak on women in literature. She'll be focusing on the position of women in literature, also focusing on and urging the contemporary writers to bring relevance to the young mind so that they can be inspired and motivated to come into the literature part. So without wasting much time, I would request Dr. Manju Anand to come and take the platform. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tanu Tandon, for giving this opportunity to speak something and to do something for women by women, which is really required. Without wasting time, and I would like to first go take you to the panorama of the literature. Women what was before women, what is today. Still, we are struggling to get that status where we really have a room of our own. We do get a room of our own physically, obviously, but yes, we still require the kind of independence, the kind of independent thinking, the kind of social acceptance for the things which are very important for us, to us. So if you think that in 1880, I just quote, a popular book was there. That was the Book of Etiquette, which says, the power of a woman is in her refinement, gentleness, and elegance. It is she who makes the society. It is she who preserves the order and decency of society. And it is she who makes etiquettes. The quotation suggests women should be passive, not displaying the active leadership in 1880. And yes, if women asserted and expressed themselves at that time, they used to be called hysterical. What happens today? The same thing is happening today. All decorations, all fine thing, all everything, the fashion and this and that, just for the male gaze. We are preparing, and we are trained in such a manner that this is etiquette. There was one headline from 1896, New York Journal, a warning against the danger of women's higher education. And the heading says, are we destroying women's beauty? If you are giving education, that means you are destroying women's beauty. So many, novels. In 1899, Kate Chopin's very famous novel, The Awakening, portrayed women's hidden passions, story of a housewife's sexual and artistic awakening, complete with an adulterous affair and suicide as a last desperate act of freedom. The novel was considered immoral. They were struggling, and that struggle was shown in different places. Then we have this Charlotte Perkins Gilman, American writer, wrote about women's rights against male dominance. A very famous novel, The Yellow Wallpaper. The Yellow Wallpaper, when you read this novel, you feel that today also so many women, they are also struggling with the same kind of, getting or thinking of getting liberty. Like after baby birth, she was not well, the young woman, it is called young woman, even the identity is not given to this particular narrator. And she goes and she is taken by her husband to a very big palace, and she is there in a nursery kind of room where there was a wall which was covered with a yellow paper, and somewhere it was torn. And she wanted to go out, and she said that she will be all right if she goes and meets her friends and this and that. But she was not allowed, and the male dominance, the physician husband, he says that no, you will be all right here only because it's so airy and all. I mean, all the things which he thinks will be suitable for her, that is the last thing. And then, of course, she lives there. And gradually, she keeps on looking at the wallpaper and the yellow paper, and she feels that somebody is creeping behind that wallpaper. There is some woman who wants to come out of that wallpaper. And finally, she just tears all the wallpaper, that yellow wallpaper, and she feels that she is freeing, or she is allowing that lady who is creeping inside, who wants to come out. And then she feels that she has done something, and she correlates with her. So that kind of, the struggle to come out and just to follow whatever the instructions of the male dominance, whatever you can call it, dominance, of course, that is also there. Today also it is the same thing, more or less the same thing. Although we are, I mean, if you say that 30% of women, they have become very liberal and they are out of there, but still we have so many women who are really facing the same kind of problems, the same kind of innocence and all. They are just, they are told that you are very innocent, you are very beautiful, you are very, I mean, you should not do this, you should do this, you are a mother, you're a wife, you are a sister, you are something or the other thing. So this is your duty. That is there still. Edith Wharton quote, the quote, just listen. Half the trouble in life is caused by pretending there is not any trouble. So this is what is also happening today. If you find there are so many waves here, you know, you call that first wave, second wave, third wave of feminism. So everything, I mean, everywhere the struggle went on and on, somewhere or the other. To some extent, yes, we did get the voting right, we did get the liberty, we did get everything. But mentally, somewhere or the other, we find in literature the same kind of women, whether she lives in India or she lives in Europe or she lives in Africa or anywhere. That kind of, you know, physical weakness, that kind of, you know, not to do, which is not accepted by the social norms or values and all, which are decided by male. There was a novel, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, Mary Wollstonecraft. The Subjugation of Women, John Stuart Mill. The Second Sex, Simone de Beauvoir. A Room of One's Own, Virginia Woolf. So all these novels that tried to come out now, the position and the status of women, now that is there, that at least amongst the women outside, those who are reading, they are getting this in their mind that yes, we should have something. We are also human beings and we should have our own thoughts, our own, you know, our own desire to be fulfilled by our own selves. But the struggle went on and on and on. There is one quote by Helen Cixous. Women must write herself. Women must write about women to writing, from which they have been driven away as violently as their bodies for the same reasons, by the same law, with the same fatal goal. Women must put herself into the text as into the world and into history by her own movement. So what is required is our own movement, is our own you know, way of coming out what you want. Otherwise, if you find even in 1905, there was one poem on a tired housewife. The poem begins, "Here lies a poor woman who was always tired. She lived in a house where help was not hired. Her last words on earth were, 'Dear friends, I am going to where there's no cooking or washing or sewing. For everything there is exact to my wishes. For where they don't eat, there's no washing of dishes.'" So see the kind of, you know, desire she has. William Wordsworth, concept of perfect women. She was a phantom of delight when first she gleamed upon my sight, but all things else about her drawn from Maytime and the cheerful dawn, a dancing shape, an image gay, to haunt, to startle, and waylay. So many places you have seen that women, the image of women, that is something very beautiful or something to entertain, something to do with, you know, to give relaxation. All these things are there without, I mean, she laughs to make the other person laugh. She doesn't cry so that the other person doesn't feel sad. So in these ways, you know, we have so many places where we find women. In order to win the veneration of society, women need to belong to the certain classifications of wife, of mother, or an ideal woman who is devoted, selfless, sacrificial, like Devi Sita in Ramayana, Draupadi in Mahabharata. Anita Nair is a very famous author. She says, literature has always been ambivalent in its representation of women. Good women, as in ones who accepted societal norms, were rewarded with happily ever after. Even feisty heroines eventually go on to find content and life's purpose in a good man's arms, be it Elizabeth Bennet, Pride and Prejudice, or Jane Eyre. Alternatively, they are left to rue their lot with a contrived courage, as with Scarlett of Gone with the Wind, or have to take their lives like Anna Karenina, the Russian one, or Madame Bovary. You know, Madame Bovary, Anna Karenina, they were also seeking for love. Then if you see that in A Doll's House, that H. Ibsen illustrates a woman confined in the family. And then there was Nora Helmer, when he says once that first and foremost, you are a wife and mother. Then Nora says, that I don't believe anymore. I believe that first and foremost, I'm an individual, just as much as you are. So we see that in some of the cases where there are few women, those who are coming out also, those who are really fulfilling their own dreams. Now, in A Silence of Desire, published in 1963, Markandeya takes up the issue of male dominance. There also in Indian fiction, the patriarchal supremacy in the domestic circle. If you say that Anita Desai in her novel, Cry the Peacock, that is published in 1963, introduces Maya as the rebellious female. She was the rebellious female who fights against three traditional stereotypes in her life: male authority exerted by her husband, her female friends who play stereotypical compliant roles of wives, and her religious beliefs in karma. And then he found very difficult situation in establishing compatibility with her husband, because her own feelings of self-worth which were inculcated by her father. And that was the conflict which was going on. You see that another novel of Anita Desai, Fire on the Mountain, that is published in 1977. And for that, she won that Sahitya Akademi Award also. In that novel, the story of Nanda Kaul, an elderly widow who lives in an isolated house situated in Kasauli, Himachal Pradesh, that is the story which goes around there. And she has given the experience of a lifelong adversity caused due to her husband's inclination towards infidelity all through her life. She has complied with the wishes of her husband and has responsibly submitted to the requirements of his social status.
Even with difficult daughters, Manju Kapoor.
Huh?
Even with difficult daughters, Manju Kapoor.
Yeah. And then, but she herself never received the love she deserved. She never received the love she deserved. Fire on the Mountain will always be remembered about the strong, powerful depiction of female characters that leave. You know, so many novels are there. We don't have that much of Shashi Deshpande. She was also there. That is the Indian woman. That is tight-lipped victim of male.
But the stark contrast is Draupadi. But the stark contrast stands at the Draupadi, which is of Mahashweta Devi. That is a stark contrast which starts there. Draupadi, which is there, which fights
for her.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is there. Even some of the Indian, male poets, they have given that Nari tum keval shraddha ho vishwas nag pal tal mein piyush srot si bana karo jeevan ke sundar samtal mein. But still we have that Abla Rani, hai teri yahi kahani, aanchal mein hai doodh, aankhon mein pani.
But then Mahadevi Verma was the first feminist writer.
Verma
we can
was
say, in the
quite.
Indian West.
She
Yes.
has actually taken out the issues of women, and she has given in that Stri ki, what was that, Shankla. So in that,
Mahadevi Verma and Subhadra Kumari Chauhan, both are the Indian feminist writers which have been literally forgotten by us, but they have
no, they are
contributed
not
a lot.
forgotten. I mean, those who are really reading, they are finding Mahadevi Verma. She has really spoken a lot at that time. Also, she has spoken very frankly whatever is going on in the mind of a Stri, and she always wrote like that, whatever she is doing as a housewife. So she has written कि हाँ यही करना है तुम्हें and all. And so in this way, you know, in Hindi also, so many places we find that Nari Shakti. If you go to Manusmriti, if you go to Rig Ved, if you go to, so somewhere you find, so it is very politically when they are subjugated, when they are subdued, so they are not there. When politically they are given that, you know, kind of liberty, so they start speaking. So many times that when they are speaking, because the male authors are more, so their published things are not going for the critical appreciation. So there also they are dominated. So many anonymous work which is there. So I mean, at that Amrita Pritam, you see, even the male, like if I remember Chetan Bhagat. So if you see that he is the person, at least he has given a kind of equality when he's talking about a call center, and he's taking that equal kind of, you know, jobs, although it is not. But my point is there that so many of them are there. There is, I mean, endless list of it. But the thing is that why are we not taking these kind of, you know, literature in the English literature actually, which is given to students to read? I'm absolutely against. We have very rich literature. We have very good translation of rich literature. But, you know, that kind of belongingness doesn't come.
I think there's some technical glitch with Dr. Anand's video, I suppose. But whatever she has been talking about, I'll continue that for 2 minutes. That yes, the portrayal of women in literature really needs a kind of change. The kind of literature we are providing to our students, the kind of literature we are portraying or we are coming it out in the market, which portrays the women in a light where she is still somewhat as an ornamental or a consumerist point of view, that she is only ubhog ki vastu or kind of thing, that needs to be changed, and we need to portray the women as a strong, independent person who can take her decisions and live the life she wants. So since we have Dr. Anand's problem in the network, so may I request Ms. Alicia to please continue with her presentation.
Yeah,
I would like to talk about her presentation, although I've already talked about how wonderful and brilliant person she is, with so much of experience, more than 8 years of experience in the field of media and academics, with expertise in theatre. Today, she'll be talking about the portrayal of women in Indian theoretical literature, including Natya Shastra, and also throwing light on Gulab Bai, a diamond of Nautanki form, which even I am not very aware of. So I'm sure it's going to be a very interesting conversation. So please, Ms. Alicia, please continue without wasting time.
Thank you, Dr. Tanu Tandon, for giving me this opportunity, first of all. And it is always wonderful.
There's some problem with your mic. Please see.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes, very much, very much.
This work from home scenario sometimes just keep
yes,
maneuvering with your network. I'm saying that it's a wonderful opportunity that I have got, and thank you, Tanu ma'am, for giving this opportunity.
My pleasure.
From the beginning, you know, when our journey starts with when you were taking a qualitative research lecture, and it was a wonderful, and that was the time my topic was very new, and I was kind of ideating my topic back in 2018, if I remember. So talking a little bit about myself, I'm Alisha Sayyidan, and I am from Jamia Mass Communication Research Center. I've done my master's from Jamia, and currently I'm working with Amity University as an assistant professor and a research scholar, mainly in street theatre. So I would just like to continue with what Dr. Manju was highlighting in her lecture, that, you know, the main problem lies that we are not accepting women as humans. I mean, either we are making them goddesses, or, you know, we are accepting them as devdasis. You know, the idea of this perfect women, I think, is a very flawed notion, because we need to accept women as they are. I mean, we need to just accept women as basic human beings. And human being is prone to making error. The problem is that we still, you know, after having all those waves of feminism, the first wave, the second wave, and the third wave, talking today about independent women, where, you know, women are working, and definitely we can say for good that things have changed. You know, they've become slightly better. Still, I think there is a long way to go, because the concept of freedom of choice is still not exerted by women completely all over the world. You know, talking about the voting rights, the abortion rights, you know, this is the right to decide that whether they can have their own baby or not, you know, whether they want to keep it or not. You know, the LGBTQ community, you know, still today, in a way, we are, I think, as far as homosexuality is concerned, in terms of women, we are not very acceptable. And I'll just give a very recent example. You know, there was this Karwa Chauth ad.
Yes, I was
There
about to
was
say
this Karwa
that.
Chauth
It
ad
was
where
taken
they were,
off, yes.
you know, they were showing two same-sex women, and, you know, the one has kept vrat for the other, and it was forced to be removed. I would not be taking the name of the brand for obvious reasons, but then it was forced to be removed. Today, when we say that, you know, same-sex marriages are you know, kind of getting accepted in the society, and we are understanding, and still uh, I think we have a long way to go, because still the mentality of human beings all around the globe is not very acceptable to women exerting their freedom of choice. You know, in terms of, I would not, you know, go the other way. Yes, even the homophobic concept still, you know, keeps coming all the time. But again, it is furthermore difficult for women. So I would not say
More difficult. A woman, a single woman, or surrogacy, or having a baby, or lesbian, or LGBTQI transgender. Like yesterday, there was this lady, I'm just forgetting, it's on my lips, who got the Padam Shri. She's a transgender, first transgender who got for the dance. So it was so good to see that, you know, that the acceptance is there. We need to have the acceptance. And also, yes, liberty, it's my life. And this ad taking out the ad is like again stamping the same thing. So no, you cannot have your own voice. No, you cannot not have your liberty.
You know, and still, you know, when Deepika Padukone does a My Choice video, that goes to so much of criticism. You know, when she says that whether I want to be in a marriage or not, it's my choice. Whether I want to have love inside my marriage or outside my marriage, it's my choice. So again, that gets questioned. So it, you know, and, you know, we have celebrities, and we have these people who are like, who are basically acting as icon for youth today. When Karan Johar decides to have, you know, children via surrogacy, nobody questions that. You know,
but
again,
Ekta Kapoor does, we do have.
We do question. When Sushmita Sen does it, we do question. You know, we question Sushmita Sen that why doesn't she want to have her own biological child? Why does she want to adopt? So the problem is, who are we to question? And again, who are we to question? And again, I would say that sometimes even women are questioning women.
But that's the conditioning. That's the conditioning we're brought up by. Like how Dr. Manju was saying, that when you're going to only throw the Amelie at them, the Rousseau's part, when you know how a woman is supposed to be and how she's supposed to behave, and she's not supposed to, you know, and even the portrayal. That's why the reason why I asked you to talk about women in media and theater, the way they are portrayed in films or plays or something. This is something which, women cannot have depression. Like I just forgetting, there's a very good book by Shanta Gokhale. Pallavi Joshi's film has come. She's a woman who is in relationship with a married man for years. I'm just forgetting that name, which is there. And then she goes to depression and, and nervous breakdown and everything. Such a beautiful portrayal of that.
Yes, definitely. Now, I would say cinema from the beginning until today, things have changed, because now we are having films on concepts like, post-traumatic stress disorder that women is facing, or depression, or any kind of a situation where she needs help. Because since very beginning, we do not feel that women should be given that right, that she might also need help. She might also sometimes need to relax. She's not always that perfect woman who wants to do things and who is probably up her game. I think Dr. Manju Anand is back.
Yes, the book I was talking about is Rita Wellinkar, if you have read.
Okay.
It's a wonderful book which talks about how a single woman is like, is just to live in her own home has created a lot of chaos at home, because she wants again a room of a flat of her own, and which is seen as having a personal space is something which is not linked to the character of that woman.
Yes.
You know,
Going
the personal
against the norms of
space.
the society. She's breaking the
Yes.
house. She's
And even if you live with a husband who abuses, it's okay, because you are in the protection of a man. But if you tomorrow decide to live on your own, then you're questioned as and the questions are raised on your choices and the character as well. So where is
Because
the
you-
freedom?
because then you're breaking the very norms of the society, and then it's
Exactly.
very deep rooted from inside that you want a perfect picture from outside. Whether it is
Yes.
not, nobody cares about that.
Nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. And it's so easy. I don't know, but it's so easy for men to approach a single woman and offer their protection and their patronage and their, because you will,
Yes.
how will you survive? So how Dr. Anand was saying and how you are saying that we are creating such kind of environment around the youngsters also, for young
Yeah.
girls, that you need to be married or have a man, or for young men also, that you are the provider. Hello. Nobody's a provider, and nobody, that kind of equality and the balance has to come in the society. That even for men, I see, I have few colleagues who are husbands are house husbands and the woman is working, and I'm pretty fine with it, but she hides.
Yeah, and this hiding again gives you the fact that you're still corresponding to that notions of the society. You're
Yes.
still not accepting it loud in the open. It's so the film R. Balki's film Key and Ka,
Yes.
talked about the very same issue, and it highlighted that yes, he was educated. I mean, for a person to be a house husband not necessarily means that he needs to be uneducated. That's why he's a house husband, because a lot of times I've seen women, they are MPhils and PhDs and they sit at home. Nobody questions that.
Nobody, even now, the norm of marrying a younger man, 10 years, 12 years, is kind of norm now for men. It's okay. But when now the women have started doing it, it's a big question. It won't last. It won't survive. So none of the marriages, if they have to survive, they don't have to survive, they will not survive, even if it is equal. And if they have to survive, they'll survive. But then for women, it's a big
Question.
Actually, I think they are questioned at every stage. That's
question.
the thing.
Very well said.
When these women, when they are reading the Satyanarayan Katha and Ramayana and all, they are accepted. And the moment they just sit in the corner having one novel, a good novel in her hand, she is objected. What is she doing?
I was reading a film critics blog, something, Alisha, and therein they said that this concept of women drinking, this normalization of drinking has been brought by Deepika Padukone, because of that Kal Aajkal thing which she did. So this is something. So why are you bringing this into fore and putting the liability and the onus on a woman? Wasn't it done by men? And drinking per se is not a good habit or a bad habit. I'm nobody to judge on that. Every person is independent and unique individual, and they can decide. But then why are you blaming a woman? कि उसने ये आदत चला दी.
Women drinking or women smoking out in the open is still not very acceptable in the society, because then smoking itself is an awful habit, it's bad for health, any which ways, for anybody,
For
And then,
anybody.
when women out there is probably, smoking, and then it's like people questions, wo dekho ladki cigarette pee rahi hai.
नहीं एक्चुअली क्या अब आप जब अपने छोटे की बात करेंगे when you think about it, Jackie Shroff is smoking and he's considered and he's projected in the advertisement as hero, a stud, or a very very good looking man who's smoking, which adds to his sex symbol. But if you show a woman who is smoking, then you add the tags like characterless, irresponsible, not
Immoral.
good, immoral.
Immoral.
So if a woman is immoral because she is drinking, then a man is immoral as well if he is drinking.
Of course.
Your laws, rules should be same. But in
That's the
literature,
battle. That's the
in
battle.
literature, like if I'm talking about Rita Wellinkar, and Rita is the one, a single woman who falls for a married man, then the onus lies on the woman because she fell for a married man. Married man is nothing because uske to dono haath mein, there are benefits. But in literature also, what Shanta Gokhale has projected very well. But in literature also, if you see such kind of things, men are shown as they can go away with whatever they want. So here we are not men bashing or anything. What we are saying is that even with men, LGBTQI community, all the genders, we need to create similar rules, what we are doing, and the literature as well as your theater and your media plays
I
a
think
very,
a little
very important role.
sensitivity and empathy attitude should be inculcated. Understanding where they're coming from, that is very important. Understanding the concept lies in freedom of choice. Because see, it's basically a human being who is eligible to make errors, make mistakes, learn from their own mistakes, and probably do the same thing that they're doing, or probably go back, amend, make a change. That's
Yes.
okay. The problem arises whether it is LGBTQ or women rights. When we talk about giving them a certain right, the very fact that when you are giving them a right, I'll just quote a film here, and this was a very popular film that was talking about, and this was I'm just forgetting the name. This was Zoya Akhtar film, and this film basically spoke about, it was a family film, and
Dil Dhadakne
about
Do.
the way Farhan Akhtar and Priyanka Chopra were there.
Dil Dhadakne Do.
Dil Dhadakne Do, exactly. Thank you for reminding me the name.
Huh.
So in Dil Dhadakne Do, we see Priyanka Chopra as a character who is a working woman. She's an entrepreneur. She runs her own travel business, and she's married to a man who is from New Delhi and a very successful businessman, Manav. And because she loved somebody else before getting married, and the very notion that the father gets into a good family and arranged marriage setup, and gets her married into a rich family, and then she is still working because she has that thing in her, and obviously she is not very happy in her marriage because she just doesn't really love the man she's married. She loves this other guy who's Farhan Akhtar, but then who was not acceptable in terms of her father and whatever. She's not married to them. But now when she's into a marriage, and when they both come together and then they discuss, there is this one statement that Manav makes. He says that of course Aisha is successful, and of course things have changed towards women. He asked Farhan Akhtar, who's a journalist, he asked, and he used to write about women issues. So he asked him that, why do you guys keep portraying that that women are they are subjugated, and then women have to go through various things? I don't really think it's true, because things are changing now. So Farhan Akhtar says that yes, you're absolutely right, things are changing, but still we have a long way to go. He replies like that. Manav says, no, see, you look at our family, my mother has never worked, I have allowed Aisha to run her own business. The very moment he makes this statement, that probably Farhan Akhtar answers the very fact that when you are putting yourself in a position that you are allowing somebody to do something, that itself is exploitation.
Yes.
It's a fact that, you are considering yourself superior, that you have the authority to allow somebody. So where is this equality? This is not
equality. See, there's because of my thesis, which I have done on aggression and women empowerment, there's a theory that majority is afraid of minority because they're afraid that minority becomes majority. It's a very simple theory of the field. So the minority in terms of LGBTQ or women, they're afraid of that because they might become majority. So this is the reason why there's a homophobic tendencies which are going on against LGBTQ, and also the same sensibilities we talk about women empowerment. I like empowerment is something which is such abused word now. Instead of use, I say it's abused. Everyone is, I'm empowered and she is empowered. And women are saying they are empowered because they are earning lakhs. And then if I ask them, like, I'll be planning my next webinar on this or no, because I was talking to someone, I take care of my finances. Who takes care of your finances? Nobody. I earn, so I take care of my finances. Why would someone else will take care of my finances? I know what I have to do. No, my husband, my brother, my father, they take care of my finances. Why? So this is inbuilt. It is woven into our structure and thread that you
Very
need
intrinsic.
to
That's very
yes.
intrinsic.
हम उसी धागों से, उन्हीं ताने बानों से बुने जाते हैं कि हमें हर जगह एक सपोर्ट, एक वैलिडेशन बहुत चाहिए. सपोर्ट से ज्यादा अब हमें वैलिडेशन चाहिए. सपोर्ट तो हमको नहीं चाहिए.
That is why I say, that is why I say that right from the very beginning into the educational something, when they are growing up, they should be given such values. Because when they are grown, then you cannot change their mindset.
Like I was talking to a cousin who has small children, so I said, please don't read her Cinderella. Amazon पे नया Cinderella आई है, उसको वो दिखाओ. The new film of Cinderella which has come on Amazon
Prime.
Yes,
but
it talks about Cinderella is worried about her career. Cinderella is worried about her career. And also, even in career point of view, like when I took a break in middle that after 20 so many years of working, I decided to take a break and I pursue my women's studies or whatever. So it's my choice. Know what I want to do, what I don't want to do. Nobody is there to tell me. Nobody should tell me. My people who are there to support me will support me anyway. I'm not going to take permission. Don't want any validation. So this thing I want, that yes, we are accountable and responsible for our actions, but as women, as any gender, we don't need validation of the society to do something.
And it's okay to sometimes break the social structure and go out of it, because who decides what age to get married, what age to have kids?
I think that's very interesting and very exciting. I think this has its own beauty and charm to it. So do whatever you want to do, and let the people think, oh. But that is what has to change. Let's not our actions and decisions startle the people and say, oh my God, she is. It should be a very normal.
It should be accepted normally.
No. This is the reason why I said women in literature. And now, Alisha, I would like to ask you to kindly present the theatre.
Yeah, because our very interesting discussion is definitely, we don't have
it's a never-ending thing, and it's so enjoyable.
Never ending.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just quickly present.
But I would like to see the PPT which you make with such hard work, which sounds so.
Certainly. Again, talking about the very topic we've been discussing about women in literature and theatre, especially when we talk about from the perspective of theatre. Now, theatre has always been a public event because, theatre is defined, it comes from a Greek word, and it basically means seeing place. So it's basically a place where people come and see. Now, we represent social situations, the norms of the society, the questions, the cultures. Theatre has always been one medium that has been not stereotypical. And I'm proud to say that because even, I come from a background of cinema as well, but cinema has been stereotypical and probably, portrayed women also in regressive fashions many a time. But theatre from the very beginning has been a path breaking and a path crossing sort of a phenomena where theatre has always initiated and represented women issues out in the open, be it dowry, be it about domestic violence, be it about women getting equal rights. This feminist theatre, people talk about feminist theatre in India specifically, it rose in 1970s. And but talking about theatre and women representation in theatre, we have a long history. It goes from 1926. Roughly from 1920s, that was the pre-independence era, where where we say that a lot of social structure of theatre was coming out in the open, fight against the against imperialism and against these concepts, and the concept of nationalism was getting highlighted. Definitely not the nationalism we discussed today, but the original form of nationalism and getting independence. So while the theaters were getting established, women theaters were also getting established at the same time. And today, I would be highlighting this with a wonderful figure, Gulab Bai. And she, she decided to have her own theater company. She comes from Kanpur, Farrukhabad district, Kanpur. and she decided to have her own Gulab Theatre Company in 1940s. And that
Wonderful.
at that point of time was a very big thing, because that was the time, we remember that when we were making films also, men were doing female characters.
Mm.
We did not even had women actors. So whenever there used to be a women role, men used to portray those roles. So at that point of time, when women were not allowed to act, to come out in the open and to represent, at that point of time, being a woman and an entrepreneur, a person who is deciding to have her own theater venture, is definitely, I think, worth discussing. I won't be taking much time discussing about theater, because we know it's a public medium, it's an imaginative art form. It discusses social issues and cultural aspects of society. And it portrays the value system and it questions the value system. That's the best part of theater. Now, talking about Nat Shastra, but whenever I do this discussion, it becomes, kind of controversial, because definitely Natya Shastra is a Sanskrit treatise on performing arts, authored by Bharat Muni, and it highlights various aspects of theater and performing arts like dance and other structures as well. Now, in terms of theater, we see that Natya Shastra has been highlighting the dramatic compositions. Natya Shastra has highlighted the genres of play. They have discussed the differences between a theater play, like an upstage theater, and a street theater, the theater out, which is done in a circular format. They have discussed the structures of play. I mean, they have 36 chapters. And in 6,000 verses, which is written in the form of poems, they have discussed Ras theory, the Navaras, the very
Yes.
popular Navaras theory, and the concept of body movements, the makeup, costume, and music, and everything. Even in Natya Shastra, if we talk about the representation of women,
Yes.
again, it is very, I would say, when we talk about the fact that, women are subjugated and then women are not given equal rights, that's somewhere also because our history doesn't give women equal rights. Because see, again, I am talking from a factual point of view, talking about the concept of apsaras. Now, this is a very interesting story that will say that Bharat Muni tells that, for the effectivity of drama, whenever we need to understand that we need to have a concept of apsara. A concept of apsara means a concept of a woman which is so beautiful and heavenly, and she's so unattainable that she's desired by all men. This very concept of apsara, and also they say that, we need to have apsaras because then men will be involved if they have a romantic angle. If we introduce the concept of apsaras in plays, I'm talking from theater point of view. So if we introduce the concept of apsaras like a desirable creature, like a desirable, beautiful, very elegant, very feminine, again, if you look at all these words, somewhere or the other, they are again, kind of exploiting women as individuals, because they are again setting standards which are not absolutely true. They are again breaking the notions of flawed women. They are again not accepting women as humans, or concept of lasya. Now, lasya is a dance form, now which focuses on Shringar Ras. Again, so there were 12 styles, and Bharat Muni suggested that all these 12 styles should be exclusively performed by women. Why? Because they have Shringar Ras in it. And Shringar Ras is a ras which is most beautifully expressed by women. Understanding that concept. And when it comes to men dancing, they said, let's give them Tandav.
Tandav Nritya.
Let's give them Tandav Nritya.
Yeah.
मतलब जब आदमियों को दे रहे हैं तो तांडव दे रहे हैं.
Tandav. Powerful.
औरतों को दे रहे हैं तो again श्रृंगार रस दे रहे हैं. So this,
भाई उपभोग की वस्तु
I
ही
think
दिखा रहे
I
हैं
think
ना।
they also went for that Devdasi Pratha there.
yes.
Yeah.
Devdasi Pratha. And then in Natya Shastra, if you look at it, the 4 classes of heroine, they have given categorization to theater heroines. They have said that there could be 4 classes of theater heroines. It could either be goddesses. The first category is goddesses, that we see. The second category is queens.
Queens.
The queens, the people who rule, the women who rule. And then the women of high society. And when they say the women of high society, they say women of high society who are wives. The most interesting concept is that the only way they are ready to accept women of high societies is when they are in the structure of being called as someone's wife. And courtesan. Now there
See
is a
how,
very
how amazingly, even in the feminine mystique, this is the same thing which is said, that the women, like, when they talk about oppression and subject, the women who are wives of, established people, they are the ones, and the most subjugated and the oppressed ones are the women who work there under them. So
yes,
now
yes.
this is the same thing. Women of high society are again working someone else because their husbands are their lords. And the worst affected are the courtesans. Here we are talking about the courtesans, and here they are the women who are working under them, like the maids and
You
the
look at this
helps.
categorization, it is itself regressive in its very nature. And then classification of women as wives, he further classifies wives into three categories. He says that the first kind of wife is Sivya. Now this is a very interesting name. He says Sivya. Sivya is a person's own wife. The Meri Biwi, that kind. And this Sivya has three levels in Natya Shastra. It says the first level is Mugdha. Mugdha is kind of a wife who is very innocent. So he says that she is that innocent that even if the husband is cheating, she would never get to know. Because she is trusting her husband completely. According to her, the husband can never be wrong. So that is Mugdha. And the Madhya is basically a wife who understands that the husband is cheating, or probably the husband is not treating her well, but she doesn't raise her voice against that. That is that kind of a wife. And then he says Praghalbha is that kind of a wife who understands that the husband is cheating, who raises her voice against the norms, and she, even if she desires to find love outside marriage, she will not think twice about it. And while doing this classification, while we are reading it, and we are probably thinking that this Praghalbha lady is the most sane one, because she's understanding, she's understanding that if the husband loves her, she'll love her back, and if not, she's okay to find love outside marriage. But the interesting thing is that in Natya Shastra, she's criticized. She is not looked in good eyes. She is not looked at somebody who everybody wants. She says, may the good one never get Sivya as Praghalbha. They
Wow.
desire Mugdha. That's what they desire.
It's all men's views in literature or
you
in
just
theater.
you just see the matrimonials. Gori, ग्रह कार्य में दक्ष.
वो तो मतलब ये वो है ही सबसे बड़ी बात ये है कि जो लिटरेचर है औरतों का या जो थिएटर का भी जो भी है आपका, written by men, for men, by the men, of the men, and women, if they want, they happen to get a chance in that. They are fortunate if
They
they
happen
get a
to get a
chance.
chance for men gaze, basically.
For men's gaze. But then I just want to know, Alisha, it just struck my base. You said that theater has always been very vocal about women issues. Like you are talking about the starting point, but now
Yes,
in the
I'm talking
contemporary
about
one,
historical narrative.
historical. But in the contemporary one, like when you started, you said that the theater has always been untouched by those prejudices. So what do you think can be the reason why the theater came out of those prejudices and biases?
I personally understand, and I probably believe in one thing, that when we have gone through a literature like this, and I'm not saying that this doesn't give us, like in the beginning I said that they also tell the structure of play, they also tell the genres of play, they also give a deep narrative into body movements. But when it comes to women, this is the ideology. So the very fact that people, because why theater has been untouched, I would say, or why theater has break these norms and break the stereotypical and regressive attitude towards women, is because the women who have participated in theater in the early were basically the stereotypical breakers, because when I'll just very briefly come to Gulab Bhai, talking about, then he says that Anya is someone else's wife. The three categorization.
Yeah. You come
is
to that,
Sivya.
Gulab Bhai, because also we are running ahead of
Yeah,
time. So,
Sivya is your own wife, Anya is someone else's wife, and Sadharan Stri is somebody who belongs to everyone.
okay.
That is the narrative. Now coming on, when I say that why theater has been untouched, rather because it has been lucky to have women who are ready to break the notions. Now talking about Gulab Bhai, the most she joined, she has contributed in Indian Hindi Nautanki. She was from Farrukhabad and she was trained in Kanpur, and she was basically, from her own time when she was 12, She was trained by a Trimohan Lal Gharana, and she left her house at the age of 14 years old. So, that is why probably perhaps that she was ready to pay the price. Theatre has been untouched because it has had people who were ready to pay that price. What did she do? She was trained by a gharana, then she left her house, then, she became a woman of Nautanki. She went outside, she married a man who was 30 years old, older than her. She was ready to break that norm. And then even while she was going out and doing, she got trained with Mohan Lal Gharana. She worked with Mohan Lal Gharana, and at her prime, when she was 44, she decided to break ties with Mohan Lal Gharana and open her own Gulab Theatre Company. उनके ऊपर एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग सीरीज भी है, डॉक्यूमेंट्री सीरीज जो यूट्यूब पे है, एक थी गुलाब. It is freely available on YouTube, and it's a wonderful. And Gulab Bai was also a singer, a folk singer, and she is very well known for her role of Rani Taramati in Harishchandra. Because she said that I would not be focusing on the Shringar Ras, I would be focusing on the Karuna Ras, because in that she loses a child, she loses a son, and then she displayed Karuna Ras. Now, a very interesting book has been written on Gulab Bai by Priya Malhotra, which is available on Amazon, and the Queen of Nautanki Theatre. So probably because of that, because we have had women who were ready to pay that price, because she left her house and her father never met her again. He said कि तुम आज जा रही हो तो कभी लौट के घर मत आना. और तो ये प्राइस था जो उन्होंने पे किया अपनी इंडिपेंडेंस के लिए, अपनी फ्रीडम के लिए. And later her daughter was also trained as a Indian theatre artist, and her sister, she trained the younger sister as a theatre artist. So and then she also received Padma Shri, which is the 4th highest civilian award. So probably because of that, because if you're ready to pay that price, I think, then that comes. And also because of the very fact of a theatre being of social activism nature, because theatre itself, आप अगर देखिए आज भी, तो theatre अभी भी एक ऐसी इंडस्ट्री मानी जाती है जिसमें कहते हैं पैसा नहीं है. तो जो वो प्राइस पे करने के लिए तैयार था, फिल्म इंडस्ट्री ग्लैमरस है, इट पेज यू वेल, तो जो जिसको पैशन होगा वही थिएटर की तरफ जाएगा.
But that was a wonderful presentation, and I wish we had more time to talk about Gulab Bai, and we had Dr. Anand's presentation also left in between. But all I could gather was that when more and more women will participate, when more and more women will come and express themselves, when more of us will come out, whether women or LGBTQI or anyone, more and more of us will come and start living the life we want without asking for validation. Of course, doing our things, taking our rights, emphasizing on our rights, making our marks, and also paying the price sometimes also, because initially everyone has to, we all have to. Then I think the trend will start. So yes. I think we all have to start with this, that we have to come out, and instead of getting scared or afraid or thinking about what people will say or the society will say, we have to come out and bring the change and be the change. Be the change. Be the change. Be the change.
Yeah, and the last word, yes. I would like to say that what was left in one line, I would like to finish that the contemporary writers and all, because now it's very easy. We are bloggers. It's very easy to write something. But the thing is that we should also give our voice against the, daily soap operas, and because they are very influential. They are going, we are talking about something where literature goes, and we are reading. So that is only 30%, as I told you that in the very beginning, that 30% only they read and they study and they understand. But the theater part of it, the Nautanki or the street plays and anything, they should go to the villages and the rural areas and untrodden and all these women, they should be aware of all the rights they should have. And that is very easy if we focus on the TV shows, because television is something, media is something. We have all kinds of shows there. If you say that religious, you have Siya Ke Ram, Rama and Mahabharat. Then you have Kundli Bhagya, Ye Hai Mohabbatein, and all every kind of Saas Bhi Kabhi Bahu Thi and all these things.
All
so somewhere you feel that there are women, Even the comedy shows, we are saying that you were saying about the male, that Nalla is called in that Bhabhi ji ghar par hai. So it should not be. I mean, the name is given itself ki house husband. If he is house husband, so he is not given that social.
Actually, Dr. Anand, this is something which is there, which is a different point of discussion also. But जो परोसा जा रहा है वो इसलिए परोसा जा रहा है क्योंकि लोग देख रहे हैं.
तो बदल भी रहे हैं ना उसी तरह से.
बंद कर देंगे उस दिन परोसना जाना भी बंद हो जाएगा.
नहीं तो थोड़ा बहुत वैसा भी परोसे जो कि जरूरत है, बिकॉज चेंज भी आता है.
बट देन दिस इज समथिंग व्हिच आई थिंक अलीशा would be better to know. But then these kind of regressive serials which are bombarded on us by Ekta Kapoor, and why only her? A lot of people have joined the wagon.
Not only her, I mean, that
a lot of people have joined the bandwagon.
When the change is there, then change can be brought there also. Suppose 25% also if they deal with all these things.
It has to come, and the women, when the people will start shunning these shows, shunning this literature, shunning those movies, then the change will come. But yes, we need to.
I remember Rajni used to have Rajni. That was such a good serial.
Those two things are there that now we don't have quality now. We just.
I think OTT platforms are trying to break this structure and come up with serials where they show more realistic characters. Again, but see, again, the point over here is, when we say, when Manju ma'am highlights the fact that, we need to stop supplying them with this kind of content. The interesting thing is that the makers really don't want to supply with only this kind of content. The problem is that the funding gets, on this kind of content.
There was a web series on, I saw Bombay Begum.
So yeah, there was Bombay Begum, Arya was a wonderful.
Bombay Begum had such good, strong stories. But what was highlighted was the things which were not so palatable by the people. So they highlighted those aspects. But the underlying notions were just simply, brushed off. And they only highlighted those things which are not palatable by people, showing a lot of nudity or sex or whatever. But the point is that we need
that is considered as, attributes of independence, sadly. That is also a problem.
Even the advertisements.
This is also something, Dr. Anand and Anisha, I feel, this is also something which we need to focus upon. That किस तरीके के independence के notions हम अब society में float कर रहे हैं. हम real independence नहीं float कर रहे हैं कि आपके दिमाग में independence आए. हम independence float कर रहे हैं कि आप drink करें या ये सब नहीं है.
ये सब चीजें नहीं.
ये सब नहीं है.
Independence thinking वो जो है कि पूरे सोसाइटी के लिए कुछ बेनिफिशियल होने वाली थी.
That's also because even the writers have this intrinsic deep-rooted thought. The writers needs to change over a period of time because वो अभी उतना सोच ही नहीं पाते हैं. उनके
वो भी तो इसी कंडीशनिंग का प्रोडक्ट है. वो भी तो इसी कंडीशनिंग का प्रोडक्ट है.
जब वो कहानियां लिखते हैं तो वो वैसे ही कहानियां लिखते हैं.
नहीं, मीडिया लेकिन बहुत जोरदार काम कर सकता है. लाइक अभी इसमें स्पॉटिफाई वगैरह में लोग बहुत कहानियां सुनने लगे हैं, इवन स्टोरी टेलिंग एंड ऑल. तो वो जो आजकल के कंटेम्परेरी जो लिख रहे हैं ना, दैट आई वांटेड कि दे शुड नाउ बी इनकॉर्पोरेटेड इनटू दिस.
So we need more of writers, whether it's women or LGBTQ or men who are open, who have broad mentality, neutral, free of prejudice, and which is like calling for a very मतलब बहुत ही ज़्यादा एक rare breed की हमें तलाश है. But we all need to start somewhere, and as more and more
पॉजिटिविटी है, स्टार्ट हो भी गया है. एडवर्टीजमेंट में थोड़ा ग्लैमर गर्ल को कम करना चाहिए बस, ये लगता है.
ग्लैमर दिखाइए, अच्छी बात है, मुझे कोई बात नहीं.
बट नॉट ओनली फॉर द हाउस होल्ड थिंग्स,
glamour with purpose, with independence, with personality,
not only for male gaze, as she said just now.
even I don't think I think this will change when even men will change. It will not change only when the women will change.
So how will they change?
They will change. They are changing. They will change.
The youngsters, they are changing.
Mothers can change.
Mothers will change. Teachers will change. Their friends will change. Their sisters will change.
So women can only bring change.
All the genders, LGBT, all have to work. So that is what we say. We need inclusivity, inclusive society, wherein we all can thrive and live
as human beings.
As human beings. As human beings, with everyone with their needs their desires, their ambitions,
Yeah.
their feelings, their
A lovely,
emotions.
lovely thing. To very healthy with
And
male
Yeah,
and
with
female.
a
I mean,
sense of sensitivity and empathy.
Yes, yes. So this is what some wonderful part to end
okay.
up.
Yeah.
And this was a
That's-
wonderful session, which I don't want to end, but I have to end because already we have exceeded our times. And this was something which was so stimulating, so interesting. And it was something which we could go on and on.
Yeah.
And that is how our discussion or a panel discussion should be. So it should
At least
be.
we can have our series,
Yes.
our channel.
So that is so motivating, and I'm so thankful and grateful to both of you, Alisha and Dr. Anand.
Our
for
pleasure.
being part
Pleasure
of
is
it.
ours.
And I'm thanking you on behalf of Nirvana University and also Center for Women and Gender Studies, and on my personal behalf. So thank you for taking out the time and participating wholeheartedly in this webinar. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.